Hello, and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Rizo Velovic, who finished fourth on Survivor 49, exclusively revealed to the Post how he received an invitation to participate in Survivor 50, the upcoming milestone season with 24 all-star players. It was unreal because as a Survivor fan, like a true student of the game, only less than 10 people have ever done what I'm going to do, go back-to-back, Velovic, 26, said. And the fact that I got back-to-back for Survivor 50, arguably what's going to be the biggest season of all time, they recognized my potential. It changed the game. Velovic explained that the offer came the morning after the Survivor 49 final tribal council. So it was the next day at Ponderosa. Productions like, "Rizo, we need to talk to you," the tech salesman recalled. I walk into a room, there's a computer, and Jeff Probst is on it. He's like looking at me. So I'm like, oh my God, Jeff. I thought he just did this with everybody in the finale. I thought, so glad to see you. I just got referred to as Riz God. It's like we're best friends. At this point, I've seen you for 25 days. And then Jeff very seriously goes into this monologue. Rizo, Survivor 50. And I think, is he about to ask me if I'm going to be on Survivor 50 in my head? Velovic stated. After that, he asks me, and I lose my composure. I go ballistic. I start crying. I'm like, absolutely, yes, signed, sealed, delivered. Not even need to be concerned. I need not even leave Fiji. Just keep me here, whatever. Velovic didn't even ask his parents what he should do. He simply gave CBS an automatic yes and was on a return trip to Fiji before he knew it. It was unreal. It was crazy, he said. And I got to play with the legends that I grew up idolizing. Before he even got home from season 49, Velovic learned that his closest ally and the season's winner, Savannah Louie, was also going on Survivor 50. It was very funny because the way that they did it, they pulled both Savannah and I together, like at different intervals. So at Ponderosa, as we were going home, flying back home, Savannah goes, "Congratulations." And I think, why? She's like, "I know." And I was like, what? Because I was sworn to secrecy by them. She's like, "They asked me too." And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, "Rizo, Survivor 50. I thought, what the fuck? They asked you? You just won. She deduced it because she went in the same room I went in, so it was crazy. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, we just ran this game together in 49, and now we get to run the tables back on 50, so I was super excited. Velovic was excited to play with so many sports legends in season 50, but 4 stood out to him the most. New era, it was definitely Q, Burdett, and Genevieve Moskalik, and then old era, Siri Fields and Coach. Survivor 50 premieres February 25th. Warning, the following contains major spoilers for the Survivor 49 finale. The Survivor 40s era has come to a close. The winner of Survivor 49 was revealed in the December 17th finale on CBS. The finale kicked off at 8/7 Central, but was briefly paused for President Trump's speech at 9/8 Central. The first immunity challenge of the episode, plus the reward and final 5 tribal council, took place before the preemption began. The episode resumed at 9:25 p.m. Eastern. The most memorable scenes from the Survivor 49 finale are broken down below, along with the names of the 2 contestants who will return in Survivor 50. Watch the trailer here. Who won Final 5 immunity in Survivor 49? Savannah Louie won the Muddy Challenge, which meant she joined the small group of women to win 4 individual immunity challenges in Survivor. She's now among the ranks of Kelly Wigglesworth, Jenna Maraska, Kim Sprindle, Rachel Hoffbeck, and Chrissy Hoffbeck. Hoffbeck is competing in Survivor 50. Savannah was awarded immunity and a steak dinner. She brought Sage Arns-Nichols with her for the meal. Savannah and Sage bonded a lot over the meal, and it locked in her desire to bring her into the Final 4. Who was eliminated in the Final 5 of Survivor 49? Rizo Velovic held on to his immunity idol for 9 tribal councils before finally being forced to use it. He played it for himself in the Final 5 tribal council, but it wasn't needed. All votes but 1 went to Christina Mills, sending her to the jury. Christina voted for Sage. In Survivor 49, who got immunity to the Final 4? In the challenge, Sophie Ballardy made an impressive comeback. She went from dead last to winning her first individual immunity, blocking Savannah from taking her record from 4 individual immunity wins to 5. Who won the Survivor 49 fire-making challenge? The time finally came for the Tres Leches alliance to break. Sophie brought Sage with her into the final three, sending Savannah and Rizo to the fire-making challenge. After one of the less dramatic fire-making challenges, Rizo lost to Savannah, making him the final addition to the jury and establishing an all-women final three. When Rizo asked Jeff Probst to say his nickname when snuffing his torch, he made everyone laugh. Probst agreed and said, "Riztod, the tribe has spoken." Who won Survivor 49? Savannah and Sophie were challenging each other throughout their answers to the jury's questions, a necessity after being in a dominating alliance for so long. Sophie highlighted how her social game influenced the season. Savannah explained how her social, strategic, and physical performances combined all season long to keep her on top. Sage explained how she used her emotions as a cover for her strategic moves. In the end, Savannah won the most votes, but they all got some. Savannah won, Sophie came in second, and Sage came in third. Stay tuned to TV Insider tomorrow for our interviews with the winner and the runner-up. Who are the Survivor 49 players in Survivor 50? Savannah and Rizo will be back when Survivor 50 premieres in February. The complete breakdown of Season 50 is provided below. Survivor Season 50 premieres Wednesday, February 25th, 8/7 Central, CBS. Jeff Probst opened tonight's 3-hour finale of Survivor 49 by talking about the two very different forms of loyalty that the season took. The players' initial voting was primarily based on their dedication to their initial groups, with buff colors essentially being tattooed on their bodies. The post-merge, however, was completely the opposite, with ever-shifting dynamics and targets changing by the episode. The exception was one motley trio that battled from being down 7-3 to making up the advantage at the final 5. But even they were not immune to disloyalty bug, as competing interests led to a fight for the first-place finish. Check out our spoiler-filled recap for more information about the results from tonight's finale episode below, including who won. Nate Moore describes Savannah best as a little dynamo. The former reporter became one of the most influential people at every pre-merge vote she attended, getting the inside scoop right away. When the merge hit, however, she was suddenly left blindsided and on the outs, feeling as used and abused as her personal belongings by her competition. But it's in that moment that Savannah accessed a different gear that she may not realize she had. The smallest person this season was the biggest threat in challenges, tying an all-time record for women. And even when she wasn't safe, she still enjoyed safety, able to work alongside her core three to consistently swing the game in her favor. She received votes each time Savannah was not immune, even getting thrown into the final 4 fire-making, but every time she persisted. And while her overall social game may not have been top-notch, as she put it, the relationships she worked on were the key ones, and they're the ones to get her the front-page headline, winning Survivor 49. Who was voted off on Survivor 49 tonight? Any plans Sophie Ballardy had going into the game were thrown out the minute she looked at the other 5 people around her. A part of this season's disaster tribe, she played quickly and played hard, locking in with tight allies early on to keep her safe. One of only 2 Kelly tribe members remaining, she got her saving grace in the swap and her 2 most important connections in the game, Savannah and Rizo. She was adopted as essentially a new member of Uli, while also being able to separate herself enough to maintain relationships outside of the Red tribe. That came immensely in handy when the trio suddenly wound up at the bottom in the post-merge. Sophie was able to weaponize her social game, however, making the others believe that she was with them to allow her and her allies to skate by unscathed week after week. Despite their success, Sophie was dreading the idea of sitting next to the other 2 on day 26, considering the flashy games they both played. And so, in a post-merge full of blindsides and betrayals, she made the final one. After an impressive comeback win in the final immunity challenge, she used her power to put Rizo and Savannah in fire against each other. Unfortunately, Sophie's fears of sitting in the end with Savannah came to fruition, and despite putting up an admirable fight in the final 3, the smallest person in the cast came up short. It only makes sense that 10-year Army veteran Sage Arns play Survivor 49 as a covert operation.
Many thought the clinical social worker was just an oddball obsessed with bodily functions, but in actuality, those farts were just a smokescreen, obscuring the skills from her degree in intelligence operations studies. And she struck when the iron was hot the minute she entered the fires of tribal council, getting her first victim in frenemy
As topsy-turvy as the post-merge was, it was remarkably consistent for Sage. She was able to purposefully influence the outcome based on what she wanted in nearly every episode, because she knew where the votes were going. But she was flexible as well. When Sophie Segretti helped take out her closest ally, Joanne Pitts, she immediately turned on her the next round. Despite a long-standing feud with Savannah, the two became friendly in the finale, agreeing to go to the end together. On day 26, Sage took the instructions from the jury to own up to the number of people she had backstabbed, hoping to impress by showing her secret strategic side. But just as Sage was open the entire game about her feelings, the way she made the jury feel with her betrayals ultimately landed her in third place. Rizo Velovic came into Survivor 49 looking to play a game that lives up to his grandiose persona. The man, the myth, the legend, R-I-Z-G-O-D, Rizgod, baby. The result? One of the gutsiest games in the new era. Rizo was not afraid to use whatever he had in his arsenal to get ahead, whether it be his salesman skills or his opponent's puzzle. His biggest asset, however, was a hidden immunity idol, which, despite being incredibly public, he was able to hold on to for an astounding 12 rounds. It was the first round he was not safe, however, that proved to be his undoing. Despite Rizo's strategic skills, he would be the first to acknowledge two of his biggest Achilles' heels, challenges and fire. And that 1-2 punch hit him hard in the final four, as he became the last jury member in an outcome that was far from fire. Christina came into the second half of the game on cloud 9. She had never attended a tribal council in the pre-merge and was quickly brought into a solid 8-person cross-tribal alliance. But things quickly fell apart for Christina, and so did she. She went from feeling a strategic low to an emotional low before a reward challenge when she had an emotional outburst about her mother's tragic death. As she showed immediately, however, Christina has a remarkable resilience to get knocked over but pull herself back up every time. Sadly, her tenacity made her a terrifying opponent in the endgame. As a result, she was voted out of the game as the last person to vote. As a result, her chances of making fire-making were gone. Will Survivor return for Season 50? Yes, Survivor 50 will premiere on Wednesday, Feb 26th with a special 3-hour episode. And while fans wait for the highly anticipated returnee season, they can participate in a nationwide idol hunt in the Survivor 50 Challenge, or head down to Miami for the new version of the Survivor Ultimate Fan Cafe. In addition, a series of encore episodes featuring different members of the historic 24-person cast will take us back in time during the month of February. When Survivor reaches its 50th season, the milestone won't just mark another chapter in reality television history. It will celebrate a legacy that has stretched across generations of players, strategies, and unforgettable moments. The anticipation is at an all-time high now that Survivor 50 has been officially announced as a returning player season. 24 familiar faces are heading back to Fiji, each bringing unfinished business, hard-earned wisdom, and something to prove. While CBS is positioning Season 50 as a celebration of the show's evolution, it's also shaping up to be one of the most competitive seasons ever. From early-era icons to new-era disruptors, the cast reflects how far the game has come and how ruthless it has always been. Below is everything we know so far about the 24 returning players, how they're divided, and why each archetype matters in this landmark season. A cast spanning every era. One of the most exciting aspects of Survivor 50 is its multi-era representation. While still paying tribute to the fast-paced gameplay of recent seasons, producers have leaned into nostalgia. The cast reportedly includes old-school legends, seasons 1 through 20, middle-era strategists, seasons 21 through 40, new-era standouts, seasons 41 through 49. This balance ensures that no single style of gameplay dominates. Old-school players rely on loyalty and social capital. Middle-era veterans mastered idols and blindsides without becoming immediate targets. New-era competitors thrive on chaos, short alliances, and constant adaptation. It's a social experiment within a social experiment, and that's exactly why Season 50 feels special. The icons of the olden days, their legacy at risk. Several early-era players are returning for what may be their final shot at the title. These contestants helped define Survivor before hidden immunity idols became standard and advantages flooded the game. They're known for strong camp leadership, long-term alliance building, and reputation-based gameplay. However, their biggest challenge may be perception. Newer players see legends as dangerous symbols, not just competitors. It will not be due to their reputations that these veterans will survive the beginning. Survivor 50 isn't just about the $1 million for many of them. It's about legacy. Masters of the Middle Ages, the strategic sweet spot. Survivor's middle era produced some of the show's most technically proficient players. These returnees know how to manage threat levels, sniff out idols, and orchestrate blindsides without becoming immediate targets. They may have an advantage in Survivor 50. They're experienced enough to read the game, but flexible enough to adjust to modern twists. If there's a dominant alliance this season, odds are it will include at least 2 middle-era players pulling the strings. New era standouts, chaos, confidence, and speed. The new era has completely reshaped Survivor, and the players returning from seasons 41 through 49 know only one version of the game: fast, unpredictable, and advantage-heavy. What they lack in longevity, they make up for in fearlessness. However, that same aggression could backfire against seasoned veterans who know how to let others implode first. The big question: can new-era players slow down enough to survive against legends who've mastered patience? The winners versus the almosts. Season 50 reportedly features a mix of past winners and near winners, creating immediate tension. Finalists and fan favorites arrive hungry for retribution, whereas winners arrive with significant goals. Former champions must downplay their resumes, avoid being grouped together, and convince others they're no longer threats. Meanwhile, those who came close but fell short may be the most dangerous players of all. They will not make the mistake that cost them the game the previous time. Social games will matter more than ever. Despite twists and advantages, Survivor 50 is expected to refocus on social gameplay, especially as players from different eras clash. Trust will be fragile, reputations will collide, and adaptability will decide everything. Players who can build cross-era relationships, manage egos, stay calm amid chaos will go far, regardless of how many idols they find. What sets Survivor 50 apart? Unlike previous All-Star seasons, Survivor 50 isn't about one theme, it's about the history of the game itself. All votes, alliances, and betrayals will be compared to decades of Survivor history. Expect emotional callbacks to past seasons, meta-strategy conversations at camp, and jury members who understand the game at an elite level. This season's victory will not only establish a champion, but also a legend among legends. Final thoughts. With 24 returning players, Survivor 50 is shaping up to be a battle between eras, philosophies, and identities. Chaos of the new era meets traditional loyalty. Quiet strategists face bold risk-takers, and every player knows exactly what's at stake. $1 million is still the prize, but history is the real reward. When the torches are lit and Jeff Probst says, "This is Survivor," Season 50 won't just begin another game. It will begin the ultimate test of everything Survivor has ever been.